I mean, I thought for sure that's what we're going to see, but lo and behold, we're up here.
Yep.
And so hence the title of today, we're not out of the woods yet. That's kind of my thought process coming into the week. I mean, obviously it was weak, right? Like in general, markets were fairly weak, and they felt like they were hanging on their last leg a little bit before a really big move down. CPI and PPI saved the day, if you will. Markets kind of bounced back after that rough last Friday. Just a week ago, we were sitting here and it was looking really rough, and it ended really rough. But a little bounce back this week. And again, we were back to flat until this market up this morning. We'll see where we end up, though. You know, this is options expiration, so we could move around a bit. We had the big banks too this week. A bunch of them, JP Morgan and Goldman and Citi, I think, were among the ones that reported on Wednesday, along with CPI, which led to the huge up day. And so far, the banks, pretty good earnings. After 10 days of misery, Bitcoin's finally back over 100K, just as your boy's about to take office, just in time. So, you know, they're preparing all this stuff for crypto. The future is bright for crypto, clearly, under this administration. What do you think?
Don't say my boy, because that is not my boy.
Okay, Carrie Underwood's boy. Sorry.
I mean, personally, I don't like trading IBIT options because I just find them quite difficult to trade. I have a small position there right now, but I just don't like it. Bitcoin over 100K, you know, I just think it's range bound. I think it's going to trade, you know, I think it's going to trade down into the 80s, and I think it's at the high end of its range right now. But I don't think it's easy to trade, so I guess I don't care that much. What I hope that the new SEC chair and what the Trump administration does is that they take all the guardrails off of the, you know, DeFi industry, so we can do a lot more with it than we've been able to do the last couple of years. Brokerage firms we've had our hands tied. I don't like that. Right? So hopefully he fixes that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't actually trade any IBIT, but I look at a website. It's the OIC website that shows top 20 option issues every single day. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed that IBIT has been creeping in there more recently. It's usually somewhere between 15 and 20. You know, this is the same thing that has NVIDIA at either number 3 or number 4 every single day for like the last 3 years. That's how you know NVIDIA is obviously something that's very liquid and easy to trade. Like I said, IBIT's been number 15 to 20 over the last week or so, 2 weeks probably. So it's been trading heavy. But again, I haven't traded it at all. But obviously, a lot of people use that as the proxy.
Yeah, I think it's pretty public. Just so you know, I think it's a very public. I think it's a very public option.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I would much rather myself. I'd much rather just trade like MBT. The micro, personally, just if I'm going to express an opinion in Bitcoin. I just haven't been interested in IBIT. Dollar's down for the first time in 7 weeks, but it's up 5.5% over the past year. So this is the first real pullback we've seen in dollar. No surprise, we see a pullback in dollar. You see a pullback in the 10-year. Obviously, markets took off this week. VIX is now pricing, at least as of last night. I haven't looked at VIX this morning. I'm sure it's down a little more, but pricing a 1% move, which is basically 1% move in the SPX in either direction, which means it was reading 16, which is sharply down from the 22 that we began the week with.
Yeah, the futures are just under 16, and the cash is just under 16 too.
There you go. Let's move to the next slide. Thanks. So yeah, this is the big difference. This is yesterday's curve in the blue, very much contango. You see Tuesday's curve before CPI technically met the definition of contango, but that was basically a flat curve. And so, you know, if this thing went the other way, right, if we were down 100 handles on Wednesday, obviously we would have probably been in backwardation. Front month would have probably been trading 20 plus. It would have been a whole different ballgame. So this thing could have easily went one way or the other. This is the way we chose. And uncertainty has left the market, at least for now. Again, we got a couple of things coming up. We got a Fed meeting less than 2 weeks now. We'll see how that plays out.
Good.
Remember this? Remember when I showed this? This is the chart that showed that we did literally the day after that last Fed meeting when we had the huge move in VIX. 74% change in VIX. SPX obviously was down almost 3% that day on the 18th. And remember I said since 1990, when the VIX has a one-day move of greater than 50%, volatility is lower 100% of the time 1 month later. Where are we 1 month later?
Lower.
There you go. Yeah, how about that? 100% of the time, it still stays intact. Still stays intact. Let's move to the next slide.
A lot easier said than done when everything's crashing. Trust me.
I know, right? Again, if things had gone the opposite way this week, that wouldn't have held up. We would have probably been higher. Who knows? But there you go. You've been following any of these quantum stocks? I know you haven't. You don't pay attention to these.
I have not traded any of the quantum computing stocks. I know that Julia's coming on at 9, and she is trading a couple of these. I forgot which one she said, but I think RGTI she's been trading,
for sure.
And IONQ she's been trading. But I would have to ask her when she comes on the show. I haven't traded any of them.
That's why I brought this up. I know you said she's coming on, and I thought this would be a good precursor. This is just the percentage change on some of these stocks. They had a roller coaster week earlier in the week. Is it this week? I'm so confused. I think it was early this week. NVIDIA's CEO came out and said, these things are 30 years away. They all tanked, and then they bounced back more recently. RGTI is another one that people probably, I bet a lot of our people have been trading it, probably a couple of these, but RGTI for sure, because again, this is another one that has a lot of options trading in it. It's usually been in the bottom 20 of higher option issues across the whole market. So that tells you something. A lot of volume going up in there.
I've avoided these things. To me, these are the new biotechs, but we'll see.
I mean, you're kind of right. I mean, the vol is trading that way. That's for sure. Let's move to the next slide. I just find them interesting trading vehicles. I don't really know much of anything about the science, honestly. I could care less, but I just find them interesting trading vehicles. So this is shout out to Dr. Data and Nikki Batista. This is actually in the most recent cherry picks. This is the SPX customer guest distributions. More recently, this went out in cherry picks. SPX opened just below 5,900 this year, and the median Wall Street target, not that we care, is 6,600. Most of our people on Q1, the median is 60.57. Q2, you can see it's 61.19. Q3 is 6,200, and Q4 63.85. I think when I did this, I did lower than where we are now. I don't know.
I did lower too. But I haven't posted my picks yet. I mean, wait for Tony next week and we'll post our picks. I'm actually inside the range this year because I think this is going to be an inside the range year because last year wasn't. But mine are all to the downside.
Yeah, I kind of chose to the downside too. Two back-to-back 20% years, and I know there's statistics on that, but I don't know, man.
I hear you.
Who knows? Let's move to the next slide. So there's been rumors going around BOJ is likely to raise 25 basis points at their meeting this week, and it would be the first since July 2024, and we know what happened then. It's not to necessarily say, again, people are going to find out. A lot of times the market may rhyme, but it doesn't necessarily repeat. But we had that nasty unwind when they it just, I don't know who knows if it was coincidence, whatever, but nasty unwind when they did raise last time. Fed funds futures now price 30% chance that they cut in March, 74% chance that they cut by July. These were 22 and 55% respectively early in the week. Eli Lilly fell huge this week, potential sagging demand on the GLP-1 drugs. Matter of fact, I think it's falling again today. NVO came out with some news. So those stocks have been a little bit weaker more recently. Last year, they started off with a bang. This year, they're starting off with the opposite. Walmart, Costco, and Amazon make up 17% of total retail sales in the U.S., up from 11% a decade ago. They are taking over, those three: Walmart, Costco, Amazon. January OPEX today, I don't even know the size of it.
Huge. It's huge.
Is it? I mean, yeah, it's January, right? You imagine.
Yeah.
It is. And then, of course, we got markets closed on Monday, folks. So get some of your trades in today. Be aware of that. A little theta to collect over the weekend. January 16th, market measure 0 DTE profit targets and the VIX. Check it out.